The long-awaited shop tour video. 12 by 12 door on the front, two 10 by 10 doors on the side. None of the finish grading is done yet. It's got its own power service. Go inside, and it's not fully finished yet in here either. I'm planning on doing spray foam. I got my security camera system set up right inside the door. Planning on doing a little office area here, right inside the door, probably somewhere off that post, straight out, and then over to that post, just for an office area for the businesses. Got 14-foot high ceilings, LED lights all throughout. You can see the two 10 by 10 doors on this side. Works out kind of nice for where I'm planning on putting a car lift in the future. Basket's still here. I borrowed it from my buddy just for doing all the lighting up in the ceiling, and I've put posts up there at the peaks. I'm gonna put 3 ceiling fans up just to keep it a little cooler in here in the summertime, and hopefully in the wintertime it'll stir the heat down here better. So as I said, the shop's not finished and it's definitely not clean, but this is kind of how I've got it set up so far. Put my 20-ton press here, old drill press beside it. Recently got a newer belt grinder. This thing works really well. Got it from Harbor Freight for, I think, a couple $100 on a deal day. Up beside that, we've got the mag drill, some tools I've been using lately. This is a 1/2-inch worktop table I built a few years back. That's worked out great, being paired up with the plasma table. The Evolution chop saw, gotta have one of those. If you're doing any type of metalworking, I got the matching circular saw to go with it. The Langmuir XR, I've had a lot of, I'd say, issues out of this waterbed, which I have finally fixed, I think. Other than that, the table's great. I mean, it cuts very precise. It's not a perfect machine by any means, but it does what I need it to do. I recently added the barrels underneath for the water, so that's the problem I was having out of the table. They send you the table where these are all separate pieces, and you're just supposed to silicone them and bolt them together. Well, every time I've cut something thicker and cut slow and it ended up going on the x-axis right at the seam, it just blows the silicone out from underneath of it. So finally, when I moved up here to the new shop, I took it all apart and welded all those seams and then hit it with Flex Seal, and now it doesn't leak anymore. So I have the water storage underneath. That's kind of neat. I have ball valves for draining the water, and it'll drain down in the barrels to store it. I've found that helps to keep the evaporation down. Even in the closed shop, it still will evaporate on you. So I put valves underneath, if you can see there. Runs into 3/4 pipe that's plumbed into these barrels. I've got a drain on either side. I use air to pressurize the water back up into it. And what I've done with that is this little valve here, when you turn it up, it allows the air to escape, and then the water drains down through the drains, and that seems to work pretty good. I had to put my computer here. I don't like the corner style that they have on there, so I've just gone with the desk. And actually, the little computer they sent me with their system, and I've only had this table for maybe 2 years, is already out of date for Fusion with the internal hardware, so it's basically useless. PowerMax 85 sync, really good machine, cuts very well. Love the tip design. It's a pretty good table. I could make a separate video just on the table. I've just done a lot of work to it recently, so I figured I'd probably make the bulk of the shop around it, especially since the shop was built around it. Which brings me to the jib crane. I got this off Marketplace for $400. It has a 500-pound capacity. It says 500 pounds, it'll probably do more, but most of what I cut is 1/4 inch or less. So all I really need it to do is pick up a sheet of 1/4 inch, which is roughly 400 pounds. So it's going to work perfect for that. I put a fresh winch on it, and I got everything there just from Harbor Freight, and I went in and rewired it. So that way, I'm going to put a box up there right at the end of that light, and this cord's going to plug in, because this thing doesn't have a full 360 swing. It only needs to swing. It'll hit that table there, ideally my trailer if I've got sheets in there, and then it also will hit this workbench here. Now this workbench here I've gotten probably 2017, and it's just an old beat up workbench. It does everything I need it to do for being in this location. I was storing all my Milwaukee on here, but I recently got a cabinet for all my Milwaukee stuff. So I was trying to figure out some wrench storage. I like my wrenches hanging up so you can just see it, grab it, do whatever you're doing. So I cut out this little piece the other day out of some 1/4 inch to hold all my wrenches. I do need to do one for the metric set. I just don't have a sheet big enough on the table at the moment. I got the small US General. This is mostly what's disorganized. I've just got random stuff from where I've been cleaning laying around in here. Random punches and drill bits and such. Nothing too crazy, just a normal toolbox with normal disorganized taste, except for down to my taps. The taps are pretty organized. Taps and dies and a whole nother kit. And then this is my extra wrenches, even after all the packs I have. I haven't figured out a good way to store wrenches yet. My grandpa works at a factory, and he recently got me this here and this here for free from the factory. This one, I'm going to get the bolt bin containers and secure them here and just make this an entire bolt bin rack. And the cool part about it is it'll fit 12-inch deep boxes, and then I can also do it front and back because this thing fully rotates. So I think that is going to be a nice bolt bin. At least that's my next project at hand. I've already got the bins ordered, just waiting on them to come in. This he got me, I believe, was just for safety equipment at his old job, but it's kind of nice on how I'm able to store stuff in here. A lot of my tools are on the truck right now, but this is basically a grinder and sawzall. I keep my Milwaukee stuff more on the top shelf, random stuff like RTV and tape and such. Just got some fluids stored in on the bottom and some Harbor Freight bolt bins and some mass, which everybody definitely needs. This was the first thing I bought for the garage. I'd like to get a couple more of these. They're not the cheapest ones, but they are definitely the best ones that Lowe's sells. It's been able to hold all the weight I've thrown at it. I mean, I've just got random pool coping, concrete trials, and all sorts of miscellaneous tools on here for now. Those hooks there, I'm planning on using with the gantry to pick up the sheets. I got my laser stored definitely not properly. And then I've just got the big work machine in here. I'm not going to do a tour on the truck right now, but yeah, I run a pool business, and this is my get it done machine. And I just store it in here just because I don't have the lift in here yet and such, so I can just pull it in and try to keep the rain off of it. My grandpa's shop's next door, and he has a 60-gallon air compressor, so I ran the air line over from there so I don't have to hear the air compressor run. I've got 60 amps of power for the 85 sink, which I don't usually cut over 45 amps, so we'll kind of see how that does. But so far, it has been infinitely better than my old shop. It was way underpowered. Now, I guess now that the table is drained down some, I can kind of show you how this works. So I have this 1/4 inch line. It runs to the barrels, and when I click on the air and shut off the valve, it just pumps the water right back into the table. Like I said, if you guys want like a more in-depth video on the table, I can certainly do that. It was a fun project to put together, and I have not been able to use the crane yet. It's definitely due for some paint, and I got to tidy up the wiring on it. But yeah, I just figured I'd give a quick shop tour video. I don't know if I really missed anything. I have internet ran all the way to the computer for the plasma table from the house. I don't have it finished wired yet, but for everything that I have wired, I've used MC cable just so I could run it behind the walls, because I did go with vertical paneling to match my grandfather's garage. Because I'm planning on having the spray foamed at some point, and it'll be better to have the cables underneath the spray foam, I think. And next, onto the concrete floors. So I install pools for a living. I own my own pool business along with my business partner. And we have our own concrete crew that does all our concrete for our pools. So we subbed them in to do this job to save a little money. It ended up being a 30 by 50 pad, and we did a 3-inch lip along the outside for water drainage purposes. We did 2 floor drains, one directly in the center of this bay door and one in the center of the other. The concrete is slightly sloped to it. We didn't do an insane slope because I more prefer a flat floor. I'd rather do a little squeegeeing than have a very sloped floor. Finish turned out okay. The concrete itself wasn't perfect. We did get some surface cracking because it was a very windy, cold day when we poured. But overall, I was fine with the job. The price was good. The floor ranges from 6 to 8 inches thick, which is not necessary per se, but we were already having 3 trucks come out. It came out to 30 yards even, and I would have rather had it more thick so I could mount things like the jib crane and the car lift that I'm going to install and never have to worry about how thick the floor is. We had enough rebar to do the entire floor from leftover jobs that we had done the previous summer, so we didn't have to spend insane money on rebar. As you can tell from right here, I cut the floor myself. I spent one summer cutting concrete for a company out on the airport, and it was a few years back, so I was a little rusty, but I finally got the hang of it. I went and rented a saw from a local tool rental company, and I just cut it into 10-foot squares, which is perfectly enough for the cracking, which it hasn't done yet because it has so much metal and rebar in it, and it is such a thick slab that it still has yet to crack on the joints, but it has also yet to crack anywhere, and I think we're probably getting close to 7 months in of this being poured. So it turned out to be a pretty decent slab. Got the old reliable Miller. This thing is probably, I don't know, 10,000 hours of welding in it at least. Got the 220 volt cord reel, 50-foot reach. This thing has been awesome. It allows me to weld in any corner of the shop here. It's not going to be here permanently. I'm going to have it down in that corner. It allows me to reach everywhere from here. So that's been a great to have. But I think that's going to wrap up the shop tour video. If there's anything else you guys want to see specifically, just let me know, and I'll be sure to do a video on it.